You know that feeling, right? You're in the middle of some breaking news event, a big health scare or crazy storm, and you just feel totally swamped by information. One expert says this, an official says that, and you're just stuck in the middle trying to figure out what on earth is actually going on. It's that universal feeling of confusion when things get chaotic. So let's get right into it. Why is it so incredibly difficult? Why do some public messages just cut right through all the noise and give us perfect clarity, while others just fall flat, or even make things worse? It can honestly feel like a total roll of the dice, but here's the thing, it's not. There's actually a playbook for this stuff. And that playbook has a name. It's a whole field called emergency risk communication. And it's all about that real-time flow of info between the people who know what's happening and the rest of us. The goal is super simple, but so important. Giving people the right information so they can make smart decisions to protect themselves and their families when it really counts.
Now, getting this communication right is definitely not about luck. It's a very disciplined process, and it's built on one fundamental challenge. The way experts see risk and the way the public feels risk can be like two totally different languages.
So, how do they bridge that gap? Well, they use this clear three-step process. First, they have to objectively assess the actual hazard. Then, step 2, they gauge the public's emotional response, what the pros call outrage. And finally, based on those two things, they pick the right communication strategy. Let's break down exactly how that works.
Okay, so step 1. It always starts with the hard facts. Before anyone says a single word to the public, the experts have to get a really clear, data-driven picture of the actual threat. And they do that by asking a bunch of really critical questions. How big is this threat really? Is it happening right now, or is it coming our way? Who is the most vulnerable here? And what resources do we actually have on hand to deal with it? This is the cold, hard, scientific side of the whole equation. But like we said, facts are only half the story. The second step, and honestly, this is often the trickier part, is understanding the human side of it all. That's the public's perception of the risk, which the experts call outrage.
You really got to put yourself in the expert's shoes for a second. For them, risk is basically a math problem. It's all about measurable data. Mortality rates, financial losses, property damage. It's logical, it's statistical, and it's completely impersonal.
And this right here, this is the whole ballgame. While the experts are looking at their spreadsheets, the public is asking a completely different set of questions. Questions rooted in emotion and our own experiences. Like, is this risk being forced on us, or did we choose it? Is this some familiar danger we know, or is it something new and totally terrifying? And maybe most importantly, do we feel like we have any control over it? This disconnect is exactly why a message that's just pure data can fail so spectacularly.
And that huge disconnect is precisely why you can't have a one-size-fits-all message. Once you understand that gap between the hard hazard and the human outrage, it leads you straight to the heart of the playbook, the 4 core strategies that communicators use to handle pretty much any crisis situation you can think of.
And it all comes together in this really simple but incredibly powerful grid. So, on the vertical axis, you've got the actual hazard. Is it high or is it low? Then, on the horizontal axis, you have the public outrage. Is that high or low? And depending on where a crisis lands on this map, you'll need a totally different strategy. Let's walk through each of these 4 quadrants.
Let's start up in the top left box. This is where the hazard is really high, but for whatever reason, public concern is low. The danger is very real, but people just aren't worried. Think about those early public health campaigns trying to convince people that smoking was dangerous or that wearing a seatbelt was a good idea.
In this case, the communication goal is super simple and direct. Watch out. The job is to sound the alarm and get people's level of concern up to match the actual level of the threat. You got to get their attention and make them take precautions before it's too late.
All right, now let's jump over to the bottom right for strategy 2. This is the complete opposite situation. The actual technical hazard is low, but public fear and outrage are through the roof. You can imagine the panic around a new technology before people really understand it, or maybe a minor chemical spill that triggers this huge wave of fear, way beyond the actual area that's affected.
So the message here is essentially calm down. But, and this is absolutely critical, you have to say it respectfully. You can't just dismiss people's fears and tell them they're wrong. The strategy is to listen, to acknowledge their concerns, and then calmly and clearly present the facts to reassure them.
Okay, now for the big one, the top right quadrant, strategy 3. This is what we all think of as a classic crisis. The hazard is high, and the public's fear is also incredibly high. We're talking a hurricane bearing down on a city, a fast-spreading virus, a major earthquake. The danger is absolutely real and everybody knows it.
In a situation like this, the message isn't about raising the alarm or lowering it. It's about solidarity. It's about guidance. The core message is, we are all in this together. The goal here is to validate people's very real fears while at the same time clearly explaining what's happening and what everyone needs to do to get through it safely.
And finally, that leaves us with the bottom left quadrant, strategy 4. This is kind of the peacetime scenario. The hazard is low, and public concern is also low. This is your day-to-day, ongoing public health work. You know, campaigns for flu shots, reminders about healthy eating, general safety tips.
The goal here isn't about managing some active crisis. It's really about preventing future ones. It's about keeping an ear to the ground, building trust over time, and addressing small concerns before they ever have a chance to blow up into widespread outrage. It's being proactive, not reactive.
So if there's one crucial thing to take away from all this, it's that risk communication is not a static, set it and forget it kind of thing. A crisis is a living, breathing event, and the communication strategy has to be just as dynamic and flexible.
The best communicators are constantly reevaluating where they are on that matrix. A situation might start in the watch out box, but as things unfold, it could quickly shift into we are all in this together. And, to make it even more complex, different groups of people within the very same crisis might need completely different strategies at the exact same time. The real art is in the adaptation.
So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you have the playbook, the next time you see a mayor at a podium or a health official giving an update, listen really closely. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to tell you to watch out? Are they trying to say calm down? Or are they telling you we're all in this together? Once you see the matrix, you really can't unsee it.